Yo, what up? This is D Knight, and you're listening to the Pardon the Interaction podcast. My oh my, we've had so much going on. For starters, in case you missed it, we've got a new addition to the Pardon Pie family, Tara Dublin. Make sure you go follow her on Twitter at Tara Dublin Rocks. Also, pick up a copy of her book while you're at it. Make her day, The Sound of Settling. A very fun and interesting read compared to the things we talk about on this podcast. But yeah, we're heading toward the do or die time for the 2024 election. Go ahead and hit up JoeBiden.com. Get that man like $1 a month or something. Help his campaign staff up and get prepared to try and save our democracy. And make sure to grab like one other person you know and tell them about the podcast. Make sure they subscribe and tune in every single week. We got a lot of things coming up for you this year. We need all the support that we can get. So if you do your part and help us grow our audience, we'll do our part and help elect Joe Biden in 2024 and save American democracy. And this is the Pardon the Interaction podcast. All right. Now we've got the recording going.
In progress.
No, man. I miss Ty.
Yeah, this feels dirty and wrong, or mostly just wrong.
I mean, we can make it dirty.
And wrong?
I'm not. I'm not going to put that part in the podcast. Don't worry. I mean, unless you want me to.
My husband still hasn't listened to a single one.
Oh, no.
He said maybe he would listen to get a feel for the theme song.
He doesn't have to.
But it was like going on about it. I'm like, it should be like 4 seconds, right? Like you're thinking like 4, like.
No, maybe like 10.
10, okay. But he was singing like a whole, like he was like making up a whole punk song. And I was like, I don't think we need like.
No, we just need like, a good 8 bars and then maybe another, couple of bars for a roll off.
This isn't as good as the other margarita mix that was actually branded as margarita mix. Even though that was also, it just said limes, sugar, water. This is a fucking limeade.
It really is. Although I guess with margarita mix, you're lighter on there's no water. It's just straight lime juice.
Maybe it was.
And maybe a splash of triple sec.
There was definitely no triple sec in it. It was like sold in the grocery store. I didn't have triple sec. I just put like a dash of orange bitters in here.
Ooh, that's also a good idea.
Well, my friend Whitney's my girlfriend.
That's romantic.
She's the margarita maker, but we were getting too drunk off of the ones with the triple sec, so we switched to just this easy one.
Good call.
Oh.
Way to not be an alcoholic. I'm proud of you.
Because I'm drinking a lot more. Whitney's had influence in that regard. Anyway, all right, let's go. I'm ready to read these words.
Hey, this is D Knight.
This is Carol.
Ty's missing in action, but you're listening to the part. But you're listening to the Pardon the Interaction podcast, where we're a man down, but we're still out here fighting like the Capitol Police on January 6th.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Who has denied us this authorization to deploy Ty?
Oh no. Ooh. Oh man, I think it was the Pentagon. They're in on it. This is a terrible analogy. I'm going to get canceled again. It's so bad.
Pardon the Insurrection, where we get canceled every episode.
Every week, yeah. I'm sorry about my bad jokes, Capitol Police officers, if any of you are listening.
No, we really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for your service. Like, you saved democracy that day because nobody else was going to. Things would be different if not for your valiant efforts and your brave fighting on that day. We appreciate you. And if you don't think I mean that from the bottom of my heart, consider the title of this podcast. It's in some ways directed at you guys, saving the day. And then like the one Capitol Police officer who's listening to this is like, yeah, fuck you guys. Anyway, it's been a couple weeks since we last got together. There was quite a bit of news, a number of headlines that we won't get to tackle because the news is fucking endless. But there are some stories on the outside looking in, and I'll run down real quick They weren't good enough to make the cut. Well, really not that they weren't good enough. We're just too fucking busy and we can't cover everything. But yeah. So Kash Patel, he testified before a grand jury. He was the one who previously claimed that he witnessed Trump declassify documents. Eric Hirschman was a lawyer who warned Trump not to sign off on voter fraud documents. John Eastman was ordered by a court to hand over the smoking gun documents. Mark Meadows was ordered to testify in the Georgia probe. A Pennsylvania man pled guilty to making death threats to Congressman Eric Swalwell. A number of defendants pled guilty to the attempted kidnapping of Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Trump was served with a subpoena by the January 6th committee. That was fun. They had to hunt that motherfucker's lawyers down. It's like a movie and shit.
Movie called The Law and Order Party. Disorder.
Dun, dun.
This time it's personal.
Yeah. Clarence Thomas temporarily blocked Lindsey Graham's testimony in the Georgia probe. And I say temporarily because as of today, he has been ordered to complete that testimony. Clarence Thomas also doesn't know what diversity is or why it's a good thing, even though he's a black man on the Supreme Court. I wonder how he got there. A general who blocked the National Guard from coming to the aid of Congress on January 6th had his promotion blocked by the Biden administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get that motherfucker off the job. Like, not only does he not deserve a promotion, he deserves to be fired. Right-wing militias are pulling a Ku Klux and intimidating voters at ballot boxes in Arizona. Pat Cipollone and Kelly Loeffler have also testified before a grand jury. Loeffler having had texts publicized recently that were quite damning. Steve Bannon was found guilty. The John Durham investigation flopped. Womp womp. What a sorry ass excuse for a special counsel. Trump robbed the Secret Service blind with inflated hotel rates. Mike Pence's chief of staff, Mark Short, testified to the 1-6 grand jury. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know why the January 6th committee didn't subpoena Pence. I mean, I feel like that would be a reasonable course of action. Like, if there's anyone that could tell us what was going on in Trump's mind in the months before January 6th, it'd be that fucker. But whatever. Sometimes I'm just, you know what? The people who were like, hey, hang Mike Pence. I'm not saying I wish that they had found a way to do so, but like, I wouldn't miss the guy. Anyway, the Arizona Attorney General referred the 2,000 Mules PAC to the FBI. The New York Post was, quote, hacked by a former employee, and they posted some crazy Kanye level shit. Speaking of Kanye lost his mind and put his own knee on the neck of his businesses. And then Brooklyn Nets very own Kyrie Irving tried to join him. The DOJ added a top national security prosecutor to the Mar-a-Lago case, which I take. Yeah,
Somebody's in trouble.
It's like Game of Thrones. It's winter time and indictments are coming.
Yeah.
Benjamin Netanyahu appears to have garnered enough support to constitute a new government after elections in Israel. He's back. Apparently, Israel didn't learn their lesson. Although it's more complex. It's not a direct election like the United States, but still. And finally, far-right incumbent Brazilian president Jair Bolsonaro lost his election. So, you know, we're shooting 50% in getting the fascists out of office. There's still hope. I think we can do a relatively decent job of keeping the fascists from taking back power in the United States here, given that our midterm elections are right around the corner. And if you weren't aware of that, you are now. Please vote blue up and down the ballot. Bring a friend.
November 8th.
Bring a friend to the polls. Bring your girl to the polls.
Get your shit together.
Bring your side chick to the polls. Bring your side dick to the polls.
Maybe make 2 trips.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't ride together.
Hey, baby, I accidentally forgot to vote, so I'm going to go back.
All right, look, maybe you should ride together. We don't want anyone accusing you of voting twice because we've had enough of that bullshit. All right.
Polyamory, do it for democracy and voter integrity, baby.
Well, that was just a list of the things we're not going to get to, but let's dive into the headlines, right? Let's start off with the Trump Organization trial because there's nothing like a former president of the United States having his business indicted with criminal charges in the weeks before an election and no one's covering the trial because the news is so insane. All right, New York prosecutors set the table for the criminal tax fraud trial against the Trump Organization in their opening arguments on Halloween, telling jurors the case is about greed and cheating. Prosecutor Susan Hoffinger laid out alleged 15-year scheme with the Trump Organization to pay high-level executives in perks like luxury cars and apartments without paying taxes on them. 2 Trump Organization entities are charged with 9 counts of tax fraud, grand larceny, and falsifying business records in what prosecutors allege was a 15-year scheme to defraud tax authorities by failing to report and pay taxes on compensation provided to employees. It's always great when you can pay your employees off the book and like double dip. The scheme, according to Manhattan District Attorney's Office, was orchestrated by the company's longtime chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, the top executive handling the books of the company. Prosecutors allege the companies benefited from the scheme by paying less taxes on the employee salaries while keeping their longtime employees happy. I wish my job would pay me under the table. Wait, sorry, did I just admit to a felony on
wishing for that is not a felony.
Okay,
no.
Right. Hey, boss man, if you're listening, at the end of the day, keeping the trusted CFO happy by paying him more without him being taxed on that income. That was also a benefit to these companies, Hoffinger said during her opening statement. The jury will see portions of former President Donald Trump's personal ledger and the checks he signed from his personal account to pay school tuition for Weisselberg's grandchildren for years, the prosecutor said. Hey, considering Donald Trump signed off on these checks, Carol, why is he not under criminal indictment? You would think if the prosecutors had enough information to indict the company and show Donald Trump's personal hand signing these checks, that, I don't know, maybe he would also be facing charges. What gives?
I would imagine, based on what you said, that he will eventually be facing charges based on an overwhelming weight of evidence. It seems like enough is pretty good, but more than enough is better. And they want to get everyone further down first, of course, and then they're coming for him. It's so funny, though, because I work for a corporation, too. And one time I sent an employee a baby swaddle when his baby was born. But I didn't pay for his tuition. I'm just saying. It's a baby school.
Aim higher, Carol. Think bigger.
I don't make baby tuition money. Anyway.
I personally think if Trump was going to face criminal charges for his activities at the Trump Organization, Alvin Bragg wouldn't have let his 2 special prosecutors resign in protest when he had the chance. He's definitely going to face these civil charges soon, and that's probably going to, if not bankrupt the company, make it impossible for them to get new loans, and like who knows how much debt Trump is under and whether he'll even be willing to pay. Oh, and speaking of which, he tried to reincorporate Trump Org's holdings to another company, I believe, in Texas. That's basically Trump Organization 2. Like, it's literally Trump Organization.
Wasn't it literally? Yeah, not basically. Yeah. That's what they called it.
Yeah, in case you're wondering if Trump is some kind of branding genius, nah, I'm going to say he just slaps the name Trump on everything and runs with it. And ironically, I say this to not be funny, but if you're listening to this podcast, it obviously called Pardon the Insurrection. If you'll notice, the title of every episode begins with pardon and then blah, 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 such and such, right? It's kind of an inside joke with myself. It's, pretending to be a marketing genius on the level of Trump, where I don't actually come up with anything creative. I just reuse the same shit. Like I slapped the name of the podcast in every episode title. I also do something similar with my Twitter feed. If you're not following me by chance, which I feel like is possible. I mean, impossible.
Oh, what is your Twitter feed name?
Well, it's at Black Knight 10K, but my screen name changes from time to time here based on the available news and changing scenarios going on in politics.
Wait a minute. Are you that I smoked guy?
Yeah. So the thing is,
my favorite one was when you said I smoke weed. And I was like, I associate with that because I smoke weed. Also, I get the joke.
Okay. If you don't remember, President Biden issued a number of federal pardons to federal convictions for simple marijuana.
Yes.
Yeah, simple marijuana possession. And so in celebration of that event, I changed my screen name on the Twitter to I Smoked Weed, right? And the origin story.
It's brilliant in its simplicity.
Well, the origin story on that is I started changing my screen name initially because there was such crazy shit going on in the news that I wanted to have like a way of like, man, this was so crazy. I hope I don't forget it. I'll change my screen name to reflect how crazy it was. But then like the next thing happened and I was like, well, I'll change it to that too. So I don't forget that. And then like it's become this endless cycle of crazy shit to the point where I don't even notice my own screen name anymore, no matter what it is. But also like the marketing genius of that is it's very similar to Trump's idea of slapping his own name on shit. Like I never changed the I smoke part. So whatever it is, the changing random shit, I just keep continuing to smoke it. Because I happened to smoke the first thing, which was hydroxychloroquine. Remember when he was recommending that as a COVID treatment in the middle of the pandemic when everyone was dying? The miracle.
I do.
Yeah, happy times. That shit didn't work. A number of people didn't survive on that, taking that shit. And of course, there was that one married couple. The old couple who were like, oh, the hydroxychloroquine, it's an ingredient in this fish tank cleaner. And they took it. Yeah, and the dude died and his wife got sick. He didn't make it. I think about that couple regularly, like the batshit insanity that this dude is inflicted on the nation. We've got old people out here drinking fishbowl cleaner because he told them it was a great fucking idea. I'm sure there's a many number of parallels that you could think of as it comes to taking Trump's advice and how it turns into bad outcomes. Anyway, Carol, on to you.
Right.
Next topic.
The next topic is the attempted assassination of the Speaker of the House.
Oh man, I feel like we've heard this theme before. This seems familiar. Is this a new assassination attempt or was this like January 6th?
Right. No, I'm sorry. This is a second assassination attempt on our Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. So
dun, dun, dun.
Paul Pelosi, the 82-year-old husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was viciously attacked in the couple's San Francisco area home around 2:30 a.m. Friday morning. Armed with a hammer, the suspect entered the house through a sliding glass door and was, according to CNN, looking for Madam Speaker, asking, "Where's Nancy? We are waiting for Nancy." My reading is humorous. I mean, I am saying this all spontaneously. The man accused of attacking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband told police he went to their San Francisco mansion to take the House Speaker hostage and, quote, break her kneecaps, end quote.
The man was armed with hammers, just in case you're wondering.
It was hammer time.
Yeah.
I'm drunk.
California, it's very difficult to get guns, so he pulled the MC hammer. Stop. Hammer time to Pelosi's knees. Anyway.
The Justice Department said in court papers charging him with federal crimes stemming from the attack that stirred fears of politically motivated violence ahead of the midterm elections. So yeah, we love their violence on that side. It's really fun. That's making me feel good inside. Okay, that's why I'm drunk again.
Speaking of
federal,
which,
from
let me
this
take a sip.
Half of a margarita. Because
cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, my friend. Federal prosecutors charged Dave DePape, whose name is pronounced as best as one can.
However you pronounce it.
DePappy, 42 years old, with assault and attempted kidnapping in connection with the break-in, writing in court documents that the attacker brought with him a roll of tape, white rope, zip ties, 2 hammers, and a journal. There was no security present at the Pelosi home, and he was able to break in the window of a glass door to gain entry. San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins said on Monday, and I want to know what's up with that journal.
Oh man, I don't know. Look, he had a lot of weird shit going on. Apparently he was going to keep Pelosi hostage and interrogate her and torture her. And if she lied, I mean, he was going to.
Oh, just to write stuff? I guess to write this stuff down.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like, this is making me feel great, but also a little bit wrong. Is it wrong to do violence for my ideals?
I don't think he was going to write down. I don't think he was going to write down notes for his therapy session after assassinating the Speaker of the House. I don't think that was in the game plan.
He was going to write, yeah, boy. So anyway, Ms. Jenkins, and I know I put a long break in there, so I'll remind you, she's the district attorney of San Francisco. Ms. Jenkins announced.
And she's gangster. If you missed her press conference earlier, you might want to go check that out.
Ms. Jenkins announced that her office was charging Mr. DePape with state crimes, including attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse, residential burglary, false imprisonment, and threatening a public official or their family.
That's a lot of fucking crimes.
It's a long list. It's
a smorgasbord. It's a buffet of criminal activity.
More like a smorgasbord. Anyway, DePape faces 13 years into life imprisonment on the state charges alone. So, what do you think this? If it's just the state charges, how do you think this guy fares on other possible charges, D?
Well, if it was only the state charges alone, I feel like he has no chance, but he's also going to get buried by federal prosecutors because after January 6th, they ain't fucking around no more. Just fuck around, find out time. This dude is going to get buried with prison time. He's never going to get out.
Sorry, sir. We're all out of fuck around. Can I interest you in some find out?
Yeah. We got a 2-for-1 sale. You can get state prosecution file charges and the federal prosecutors. But also, there's this conspiracy theory going around. I am wary of repeating it. But it goes something along the lines of there's this idea that this attacker was Paul Pelosi's secret lover, and they were having a drunken quarrel. Which I guess the evidence for that is Paul Pelosi's recent conviction as far as a drunk driving incident, and that in the 911 call that Pelosi somehow managed to make before he was being held captive by this attacker. You fucking morons. This guy beat Paul Pelosi's head in with a hammer and was asking where his wife was and was going to beat her, torture her, interrogate her, and then finish her off. That is the end. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is just a right-wing nutbag who read too many fucking QAnon posts and watched too many YouTube videos. He did his own research, and now he's going to be, he'll find himself in prison for a long time.
Well, so anyone with reasonable logic, and I was going to say reasoning, and now I'm a little embarrassed, skills, anyone with good reasoning skills could easily deduce that, these conspiracy theories are bullshit. Wouldn't you say so?
I mean, they tried to say he was some left-wing liberal nut job. This dude was like, the 2020 election was rigged. Well, if he was a left-wing nut job, the left won in 2020. So why the fuck?
But certainly no one influential and powerful would recirculate these theories, right? I mean, anyone with half a brain.
I mean, you would think anyone with any sense or legitimacy would just condemn this horrible act of violence directed at the Speaker of the House and her family. But no, we have the entire right wing out here basically giving this guy a pass, if not condoning the shit, and at best making light of it, at worst, giving free reign to other nut jobs to follow in his footsteps, from From Donald Trump himself to his kids to Fox News, Tucker Carlson, all these fucking whack jobs basically enabling this shit. And like I said, DOJ ain't fucking around. They're going to put this guy away for a long time. That's fair warning to you people. Go down these fucking QAnon rabbit holes and think you're going to take shit into your own hands. Good luck. Good luck. You'll have a prison cell right next to this dude.
We're going buy one, get one free on Find Out. All right.
Clean up on aisle 45. Next topic. Elon Musk on Sunday gave credence to said fringe conspiracy theory about the violent attack on Paul Pelosi.
It's almost like I gave you a layup for that one. You changed the subject.
Well, I didn't want to spoil the topic before we got to it. The new Twitter owner tweeted a link to an article full of baseless claims about Pelosi. The article was posted on a website that purports to be a news outlet. Musk, who has 112 million followers on the platform he now owns, posted the baseless story about Pelosi in response to a tweet from Hillary Clinton at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Time. He later deleted the tweet around 2 p.m., but not before racking up more than 28,000 retweets and 100,000 likes. This very same outlet had declared in 2016 that Hillary had in fact died and was replaced by a lookalike. This some fucking crazy ass shit. We got a dude who spent $44 billion to buy Twitter so he could tweet out absolute fucking nonsense. What is the world coming to, Carol? What are we doing?
Well, he saw, what Putin had going, and he was like, people are saying he's the richest man in the world, really, but
are they?
I still want people to know that I am. And then he probably had some sleepless nights thinking about oligarchy and democracy and all these concepts. And he said, where do I stand? And he's like, oh, right, I'm the fucking bad guy. So let's start moving this shit. He doesn't need to post. It doesn't matter if he deleted a tweet a few hours later. It's not because he's embarrassed. He posts this shit on purpose. He is trying to undermine democracy. He, I'm sure, knows that story is baseless. You can see that's the word I was going to say by my prolonged sound.
And don't self-edit yourself, Carol. Just say what you mean. Say
fucking bullshit story. He knows it's bullshit, but he's sowed seeds of doubt. He's gonna try to get what he paid for out of his purchase. And I think he didn't leave himself enough time to totally tank the midterms, but in terms of Twitter, but he's gonna try, or he'll just do whatever the fuck he wants because he's a petulant child. And he's like, look, I'm with my mommy at Halloween. I don't know if you saw his post.
I did, unfortunately. I'm seeing way too many of his tweets.
Here I am with my mommy.
The thing about Elon is his newfound friends as of the last couple of years are also right-wing nut job disinformation promoters, right? So when he tweeted out the link to that story, he absolutely knew it to be false. But he's got these crazy people in his ear out here getting him to squander away his fortune to do their bidding. It's not going to work out well for him in the end. But for the moment, there's a lot of damage he can do. As to the legitimacy of this outlet, this same outlet also tweeted out also put out a story saying Elon Musk may be the world's richest man, but he still can't get laid in a whorehouse with a handful of 50s. They went on to say, okay, fine, he didn't actually say that, but he did say, I haven't had sex in ages, which he did say, and which is probably fair, even though he's somehow managing to get every woman he comes in contact with pregnant. I'm imagining at this point, there's already some Twitter employee who's about 4 days pregnant. We'll just give it some time. That announcement's coming. Don't you worry.
How many ponies do you think she got? Or do you think he didn't pony up?
I see what you did there. Okay, next topic, Carol.
Yeah, I'm done talking about that dick.
I'm so over him and his bullshit.
The Secret Service received notice of shooting threats against then Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer as the Capitol was under attack on January 6th, but did not pass it along to the Capitol Police for more than an hour after receiving it, according to reports obtained by Crew.
I wonder what they were waiting for.
Some fucking senators to die. Here, I'm too unfiltered right now. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to try to, but I won't. Newsmax received a voicemail suggesting a shooting threat against Schumer shortly before 4 p.m. on January 6th, roughly an hour after the Senate chamber had been breached and well before law enforcement was able to clear them out. A Newsmax editor emailed the voicemail to the Secret Service at 3:59 p.m., indicating the timestamp at which the threat was made. The Secret Service forwarded it to the agency's Protective Intelligence and Assessment Division 10 minutes later. U.S. Capitol Police did not receive the voicemail from PID until more than an hour after Newsmax had sent it. The records do not show how explicit the threat was made in the voicemail. So yeah, I mean, unless those people were all just like all glued to their screens like we were that day, freaking out, like, is it over yet? They're like, oh shit, we missed an email.
I don't think that was the case, Carol. I don't think that was the issue here.
No, it goes on to say more things. But anyway, President Trump was refusing to send in any aid to support law enforcement at the Capitol at the same time and had publicly pressured Pence and members of Congress to overturn the election. So yeah, maybe that was the bit of the delay there. Oh, it's almost as though there were a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's crazy. People are out here trying to assassinate Chuck Schumer, and Trump is also aiming those same people at his own vice president. And the Secret Service is like, we ain't in this, dog. We out of this. We want no part of it. Either way, it seems nefarious.
Anyway, Crew previously found that the Secret Service held on to a threat against Nancy Pelosi until after the insurrection had begun, despite receiving it days earlier. While the Capitol was under attack, Pelosi also had reservations about whether she and Mike Pence could trust the agency.
I'm sensing a recurring theme here.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't want to fucking die. And that's when they tell the truth when they think they're going to die. The records also revealed a threat directed at Mike Pence, Joe Biden, and their places of residence on the day of the insurrection, as well as explicit plans to attack the Capitol.
Now, if you're wondering what the running theme here is, it's like, oh, multiple people are out here trying to kill Nancy Pelosi. On January 6th, it was Trump supporters. So guess who might have been responsible for this recent attack on her family? I do the math. 2 + 2. It's not hard. It was a fucking Trump supporter. Can you see the common theme here?
Oh, I thought it was 4.
I'm sorry. You were told there would be no math. I apologize.
I was so proud of myself.
Oh, pat yourself on the back. You were pretty close. Pretty close. Look, I don't trust the Secret Service. They've made too many fuck ups. Not only not protecting Congress on January 6th and not putting out any warnings, not communicating with the Capitol Police, but they fucked up a number of times covering all of this up in the year and a half since. And there's no way they couldn't not be in on this. It's like there are too many red flags. Like if I was out on a date with someone with this many red flags, I would just go ahead and tie myself up and toss myself in the trunk, right? Because it's clear that this is just it's all bad. It's all bad. All bad. All right. The next topic. The House Select Committee investigating the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol that keeps coming up is planning to interview Secret Service officials, they keep coming up, and agents in coming weeks. Two sources briefed on the ongoing investigation told CBS News. The committee will bring back former Secret Service Assistant Director Tony Ornato, who is now retired, who actually retired to keep from testifying to the committee. And also Robert Engel, former President Trump's lead Secret Service agent on January 6th. Both men have already been interviewed by the committee. They were both mentioned in blockbuster testimony by former Trump aide Cassidy Hutchinson, who threw them fucks under the bus, and they deserve it. Hutchinson testified on June 28th that Ornato told her that the president became, quote, irate on January 6th. Yeah, and we know how irate Trump gets, like Mr. fucking condiment wall dude. He became irate on January 6th when he was told in his vehicle that he could not go to the Capitol. Why did he want to go to the Capitol so badly with his followers on January 6th? I can't imagine why.
I don't know. I think he had a really big inclination that he wanted to fall down and shit his pants.
He wanted to hang out with Mike Pence's wife. I'm going to go with that.
Oh, mother.
Hutchinson.
But I was just imagining what would have really happened had he gone. Which, like, he would have gotten like knocked over and pooped himself.
I mean, it's possible that could happen. Look, okay. Side note: we all know the reason why he wanted to go to the Capitol, right? It wasn't just so he could his followers knew the deal, right? Attack the Capitol, get Pence to declare the election was rigged, and like somehow get the false elector votes voted on and make Trump president again. But the reason Trump needed to be there is to celebrate his grand victory like narcissistic fucking dictators do all across the world when they overthrow governments, right?
He probably had a crown in his pocket.
Yes. He needed to give some grand speech on the steps of the Capitol about how he took out the radical Democratic left and saved the country. And, you know, he's dictator forever, president, God, Emperor Trump, blah, 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 so on and so forth, right? That was the hope. That's why he needed to be there so bad. Like he thought it would be a made for TV moment where he crowned himself king. It failed, thank God. But, you know, that was probably what he had in mind, or at least that's what I imagine.
Do you think his crown came from Burger King?